What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another really cool knife to show you. This is the Massdrop Gavko Thresher. This knife was actually provided for review directly by Massdrop. As always, I will try not to allow that to affect my review and my thoughts and things, which is pretty easy considering the only thing that's being provided to me is the knife itself. So, really excited about this knife. A lot of really good things to say about it. Let's go ahead and get some specs here real quick. Go ahead and lay that down flat. Get out my tape measure here. Overall length on this guy is going to be just shy of 8 inches. Looks to be about 7.8 inches overall. How about the blade? Blade length on this guy coming in at about 3.5 inches exactly. This is one of the rare circumstances where the cutting edge, considering where the point of that scale is actually longer than the total blade length. It's interesting. Yeah, it's about a 3.5 inch blade, maybe 3.4 inch blade, something like that. How about some size comparisons here? Against the Ontario Rat Model 1. Rat 1 coming in at 8.6 inches overall. How about the Spyderco Paramilitary 2? PM2 coming in at 8.3 inches overall. So you can see there, we're getting closer. This is still a full-size knife, just a little bit smaller. Benchmade Griptilian coming in at 8 inches overall. We're right about in Griptilian territory. I know it looks like from this angle that the Thresher is actually longer than the Griptilian, but it's just ever so slightly shorter based on my measurement there. And we've got the Spyderco Delica coming in at 7 inches overall. So really cool. Let's go ahead and weigh it here real quick. Close it, give you guys a demo of that action. Really, really great fall shut action there on this guy. Turn that on, make sure it's zeroed out. Yep, okay. And weight coming in at 4.83 ounces. Let's go ahead and turn it back over. Do it again. 4.80 ounces. So just shy of 5 ounces. Pretty cool. So, this is a Massdrop collaboration between it'd be Michael. I believe that's how you spell his name. You know, I have a Michael in my family, and he spells his name differently. But Michael Gavko is the gentleman who designed this knife and makes custom knives. His customs in USA, or I'm sorry, his customs and mid-tech knives are all made in the United States, I believe, for the most part. This knife was actually a collaboration between Michael Gavko and Massdrop, and then it was actually produced by We Knives. So really, really cool. This is, like I said, it's called the Thresher, which is, of course, a type of shark. I think there is, quite a few shark-themed knives in his line, and you can kind of see that visually. If you go to Blade HQ and type his name in, you'll see that, that's kind of a theme that he likes to do, and I think that's cool. You can actually see here how they did the thumb studs in black. I believe they're PVD-coated thumb studs. That was specifically to make it look like the eyes of a shark, as far as I understand. So that's pretty cool. It definitely does look that way. So that's neat. Let's go ahead and do the paper cut test before we really get into the specifics of the knife. As always, the paper cut test is not a definitive cutting test. It's simply designed to give you an example of out-of-the-box sharpness on paper versus what seems to be the universal standard, the Paramilitary 2, in terms of sliciness. So what I do is I take a pass of the PM2, then a pass of the knife in question, and then I compare the two and tell you guys my thoughts. PM2 slicey as ever, Gavko Thresher. Also incredibly slicey. I don't know why that's surprising to me. I always try to keep my mind off of this, not slice anything at all, for the time that I have this, and then do it organically on camera so that I can really get my, I want my actual organic response on camera. I would say that feels about 85% as slicey as the PM2, 85 to 90%. It's very slicey. There's a lot of belly there, and there's a lot of room for that blade to drop down to the cutting edge. You can see here the thickness is, it's in the same territory as the PM2. Let's look on camera here. They might be exactly the same thickness, 0.145. If one is thicker, I would say it's ever so slightly the Gavko. But they look to be about the same thickness. So, very good. This is an excellent slicer. Blade shape is it's a clip point style blade. It's got some harpoon notches, but I wouldn't call it a harpoon. Really, really beautiful. What we're looking at here is a satin finished CPM S35 VN blade with titanium scales. The titanium scales have been anodized, sort of a copper oxidized green, which, initially I was like, how do I feel about this? Usually, I can look at something and go, I either love it or I hate it. I wasn't 100% sure on this. I have decided that I really like it. They call this Aqua. You can still buy this knife right now. You can go join the drop. There's lots available. There are 3 choices. This knife starts at $180 or $179.99. You can get plain with just the no scallops or no texturing in the scales. Your choices are tumbled titanium, aqua, which is this color, and then sand. That's $180 for that and S35VN, full titanium. Then your next step up, you can go up $20 and you can get this texturing on here. Again, tumbled titanium, sand, and aqua. And then their final option is, I think I may be pronouncing this incorrectly. This is not a word I'm familiar with. Pelagic. Pelagic is the third option. If you want to spend an additional $30, they put some lines and texturing. I mean, you'll have to go look at it. The way I'm going to describe it isn't going to do a very it's not going to do it justice. But that's your third option there. Again, available in all 3 colors. So pretty cool. You've got some options there. I kind of would have enjoyed I don't know, this knife is one of those knives where it's like, for whatever reason, I would have liked to have seen purple ano. Sand is always a bummer to me. We always, whenever a new knife comes out, what are the 3 colors it always comes out in? Black, tan, and OD green every single time. In this case, it's titanium, so of course we get a tumbled titanium option. We get a cooler green, in my opinion, than OD green, and we get sand, which is just tan. And I know some people like that. I don't like that. I like to see cool colors like light and dark blue and purple, and even if I'm not really wanting to be interested in colors like that, it's neat because I know there are people out there who would jump at the chance to get something anodized in that color. But anyways, that's just a personal little nitpick, not really a big deal. I think the options they're available in are perfectly adequate. Anyways, you have this clip point style blade with a lot of belly and obviously lots of room to drop towards the edge. No jimping, but you do have a really nice spot up here to rest your thumb. And I have to say, I know I'm jumping the gun here to talk about ergonomics, but that is very, very comfortable. You can see there that I'm getting my entire hand around this knife despite it being a 7.8, 7.9 inch knife overall. Very comfortable. You'd think there'd be a lot of sharp spots around here with all the scalloping, but everything's nicely rounded off. See if I can give you a nice close-up here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. It still looks sharp on camera, but I'm telling you it's not. It's really not sharp. The only sharp spot that I'm feeling is probably right back here. I don't know how often your palm's really going to come in contact with it. Well, no, if I'm being honest, we got a couple of sharp spots up here, but they're really not bad. It's definitely not the worst that I have ever felt. So pretty cool. Moving down to the titanium, obviously you can see this is ever so slightly tumbled. It's got like a matte finish, and it looks like the Statue of Liberty. Essentially, that's the color we're looking at here. Really, really pretty in my eyes, but not everybody's going to feel that way. On the inside here, you can see it is solid titanium. We don't have any milling on the inside of the scales. That would make sense given the weight. You've got a couple of body screws back here. Torx head pivot, Torx head body screws, only a couple there holding in the back spacer. You've got a very simple pocket clip with a couple of screws there. You've got a steel lock bar insert that also doubles as the over travel stop. Lockup is extremely solid. No play up, down, left, or right, and the action is incredibly smooth and very, very easy to manipulate. So really, really neat there. We're going to go into some more detail here in just a sec. So a couple of major highlights here for this knife, from me anyways. To me, this is a very visually appealing knife, at least in silhouette. the look of the handle minus the scalloping or the texturing, whatever you want to call it, you take that away, and what you have is a very simple handle that reminds me a lot of what we see from Ferrum Forge. It looks like a modified Mordax handle. That's honestly what it makes me think of. It's going to make different people think of different things, but we have a simple handle that's very appealing. Maybe it's the way that this back end slants down like that. I don't know. The blade is also extremely appealing because it's a modified clip point with a huge amount of belly. That's awesome. This blade looks like a blade that is meant to cut, and I know that sounds ridiculous, because this is a channel associated with the world of premium cutlery, and those of you who have been involved with this for a long time, it's funny to hear something said out loud. Wow, that blade looks like it's really meant to cut. Obviously, all blades are meant to cut for the most part. God, I resisted the urge to make a joke there about a specific maker, but I'm not going to. But all blades obviously are meant to cut, but this one, I mean, you just look at it, the shape of that belly, and you can tell, it's a blade that wants to go through material. And I mean, look at that. It's ready to go. Wonderful. This is a knife that I've carried a little bit and have only used to slice paper and open a couple of letters here and there, because it's going to go on to some other reviewers. And I want them to experience that in full swing. But man, is it a joy to use. It's a joy to slice, and you get the visual appeal, or at least for me, the visual appeal of the clip point, those little harpoon notches, I guess I'm going to call them, and kind of this sort of swoop. It's also, it's like a little big knife, because it's under 8 inches, and it feels like they're making use of every inch of the handle and then just giving you this whopper of a blade that just looks massive compared to the handle. I mean, really, I love that. This is one of those knives where I'm actually, I wish it had a forward choil, but I am 100% okay with the fact that it doesn't, because the extension, what you get with that blade, how quickly the belly starts, the curvature of the blade starts up next to the sharpening choil, you do have that added benefit. And if you cut straight down, the thumb studs are in the cutting path, but if you're slicing, it's, the way that it's ground, the angle here as you slice out towards the tip, it's really going to clear those thumb studs. And I don't know, I'm a big fan of this blade shape is what I'm saying. So that's the first thing that's kind of stand out positive to me. The second and most obvious thing that stand out positive to me is the action. The action is superb, and let me tell you, it is refreshing to have a thumb stud that is so a thumb stud deployer that is so well designed, that's running on bearings. The position of these thumb studs and the texturing on them, and just the way that they feel, the way that your hands naturally fall into position to deploy them, and even on the reverse flick, I mean, it's so easy. Fidget factor, I always talk about that. Fidget factor, for those of you who are also big fans of that, it is absolutely there with this knife. So much fun to play with. Everybody that I've handed it off to, other knife guys, coworkers who aren't knife people, everybody's just like, wow, it's so smooth. It's got this like frictionless smoothness to it. And the detent, even though it is a non-flipper, it's still heavy. It still feels, and not in a bad way, I mean in a good way. The blade readily is pulled into the handle. You can see there pretty heavily, but what it allows for is this awesome buildup of energy before you fire that blade, and it's so easy to deploy. I mean, it's just fun. This knife is a lot of fun, but at the same time, it's a perfectly capable workhorse of a knife. And being a 4.8 ounce full titanium knife, you get, if you're like me, you get the joy of the feeling of solidity. This feels like a very solid knife, and yet it carries really, really well. It carries light. It feels good. I don't have anything to complain about in terms of deployment and carry or anything like that. I suppose if I was going to complain about one thing, the pocket clip looks weird. I don't really like pocket clips that start out narrow and then expand. It's just weird. But does it work? Yeah, I mean, it's a very simple, very functional pocket clip. It is titanium. It's got good, good retention. The bill here, I guess, I always call that a duck bill. It's not sticking up far enough that I feel like it's going to catch and bend out. It might, but it doesn't really. I'm not super duper concerned with that. Fit and finish. This is a Wii, so it came absolutely 100% perfectly centered. Lockup, like I said, is perfectly solid. Looks like it's locking up at about 35%. Also very, very solid. No lock stick whatsoever right out of the package. Just ultra, ultra, ultra smooth. No lock rock, anything like that. Everything just feels amazingly smooth, and I am just infinitely impressed with that. Actually, I'm more impressed every single time I handle another Wii knife. Moving on to some things that I don't like. This is going to be a pretty short. Well, it's gonna be small. I might talk a lot, but it's truthfully a very, very small category here. So I know that you can get non-textured versions. You can get this version. You can get the pelagic or whatever that word is version with the different lines. Come on, for whatever reason, my phone is not wanting to focus right now. There we go. I love the backspacer. I like that it runs about 80% the length of the knife. Here's what bothers me a little bit, and some of you, have already thought this to yourselves. Wow, literally everything is the same color on the handle. The hardware, the backspacer, the pocket clip, even the screw for the steel lock bar insert. It's all exactly the same color. And I think that's why I had a hard time trying to figure out, do I like this or do I not like it? I decided that I like it, but it makes me wish that there were some more options besides monochromatic gray, monochromatic aqua green, or copper oxidized green, and monochromatic tan. I really would have liked the option to have a tumbled scale with green hardware and a green backspacer, just for, if nothing else, just for more contrast. And I know, I can't really pick this apart too much because what Massdrop is doing pretty much has everybody cheering right now. And they are doing something great. Like I said, this is a $180 knife at base. Now, it's fully up to you whether or not you want to pay the extra $20, $30 for the texturing. But to me, a full titanium knife built by Wii running on bearings, S35VN with this type of amazing fit and finish, attention to detail, the action, $180. Oh, all day this knife is worth $180. I am so excited about the price. And here lately, I've been complaining about a lot of prices. I can feel myself turning into this snobby critic who's like, oh, that's too much money. But man, $180 for this thing, absolutely. And even you go up, let's say you go up to 200 and you get the one with the scalloping. I mean, yeah, it really looks nice. I can't really argue with that. I'm really, really impressed with this. And like I said, guys, the action is it's to die for. The action on this is just amazing. I've got $400, $500, $600 knives that have the same feeling action and, dare I say, a little bit worse than this knife. So it's that impressive. And other owners, I hope I have some people in the comments section who also have their hands on this knife that can echo what I'm saying. So if you own this and you feel the same way as me, put it in the comments section. Let other people know this is the real deal. I'm really, really impressed with that. But anyways, I wish there were some other color options, some kind of mix and match color options. That would have been really cool. The black thumb studs, I totally understand what they're doing with that. It meant to make it look like a shark's eye. Sometimes I look at it and I really, really like it. And sometimes I look at it and I'm like, wow, that's really odd. Because it's just kind of sticking out there. It's completely different than the rest of the knife. Functionally, oh my gosh. Yeah, functionally they work unbelievably well. They're very, very comfortable and non-obtrusive. No complaints there. It's just it's odd, So that's, I suppose, the pocket clip and the lack of some color changing options to knock down the just kind of blah. It's almost like, you click the paint bucket on the paint program and you just make they just painted the whole knife one color. It's fine. It's not really that big of a deal, but truthfully, guys, that's all I can really complain about. This knife is a shining example of what Massdrop and companies like we are capable of doing with, or you know, when they collaborate with a custom maker, what they're capable of putting out. And this is one of many examples. If you have not, you know, gone and made yourself a part of, I guess, the drop community, so that you're ready to go when the next drop comes, I would suggest you do it. The only drawback that I've found is that if you order one like right away, as soon as it happens, you don't get it for like months. You almost forget about it. And I've got one coming that actually legitimately will not be here till June. And you know, a lot of you are gonna know what that is, but because I'm sure other people watching this video have ordered that one too. But that's kind of what happens, or so I understand. I haven't been too many. Like I said, this was provided by Massdrop, so I've only personally been a part or made a purchase for one drop. But that's really the only downside to that. So, anyways, if this knife you know, is appealing to you in appearance, and it's about the size that you like, you enjoy full titanium, and you're a big fan of the fidget factor, but you also like to, of course, carry a functional blade with a nice steel. Oh my gosh, $180 well spent on the Massdrop Gavko Thresher. Absolutely. Let me show off real quick what this comes in. Very similar to what you get with other Wii knives. You get a pouch that's sort of, it's double-sided. You get a nice microfiber cloth, and then of course the plastic thing that it comes in, and the salt pack. Really, you know, I mean, simple but nice. I mean, it does the trick. Absolutely. Guys, that is honestly about all I can say about this knife. I love it. I'm absolutely going to add it to my playlist of knives that are my most recommended that I've ever had pass through my hands on this channel. So check that playlist out if you haven't already. And also, check out this knife. This is an awesome knife. I don't know. You know, I don't really have like 10 out of 10 or 5 stars. I don't really have that. But if I did, this is a 5-star knife. Absolutely. Huge fan of it. So, anyways, that's going to be pretty much it today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, then please subscribe to my channel because there is definitely more coming. Also, you can check me out on Instagram at metal_complex with the exact same logo as this channel. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.